Still the second day on Learning Conversations. Yesterday we started with Mohr, our first interview. Today we follow up with the question, what do you mean with experience? What do you mean with you have to have some experience? Experience in what?
So for me it was very interesting to have experiences on different levels. As the group process is now at the end of the second day, and we are a systemic community in our learning conversation. That is one level for experiences. I will explain that in a moment a little bit more differentiated. Then there is a kind of group level, and there is a personal level of the people that we have to have in mind or to consider. On the systemic level, I think I made the experience how important it is to have a certain amount of structure in a process and a certain amount of planned figures and certain time frames for the methods we use here. And by this point to support the learning process. If you
may I interrupt you at that point, because yesterday we spoke about the experience the participants have to participate, not the experience you have here. It's more like what is the precondition to be part of the community. And you talk from my perception about how you experience the level of persons here and in the different roles. So the question, what level of what experience do I have to be part of the community?
I think you should know something about systemic theory and RTA theory, and well, we started the whole thing here with a very heterogeneous group now, and so you always there is always a question: who is addressed? Is it the people who are sophisticated in the method, or are people addressed who are absolute beginners? And it's not easy to bring them together. Therefore, you have to have a certain level of experience. I have no certain hours of training I think that is important for the whole thing. Otherwise, you get a lot of personal issues in the group, of group dynamics that are very interesting for self-experience groups, but not for what in my eyes should be the main focus of a systemic learning conversation, because systemic learning for me means that people from the different application fields get some knowledge and also some practical inputs for their fields of application, for their practical work. And as I realized, today we had more content, and I thought the people were satisfied, more satisfied to see what could they transfer in their practice now.
Let's talk a little bit about the format. You spoke about the content now. An input of 5, maybe 10 minutes, and then just 20 minutes to discuss. For me, it's been a problem. I did not really understand in 20 minutes what's going on. What is your impression? Are 20 minutes of discussion enough, or maybe we can enlarge the format to say 10 minutes input and like 50 minutes discussion, and then a group discussion in the end to sum something up?
Well, that's an interesting question, or a good question. As I previously said, I think people can stand 15 or 20 minutes input, and then the rest of the hour, 40 minutes, they have to discuss, but with specific questions as we used here. Maybe the connection between the several parts of inputs and questions can be put in a better way in some line, that it is not a puzzle with some missing pieces in it. But you are right. I would like to prefer to extend both times, the time of input and also the time of discussion.
So maybe this has also impact to the kind of participants here, because I just talked to a lady. She told me the last presentation of Gunther Schmidt was just too much and too long. It was about 50 minutes on high level, on high complexity. And she said she was like filled up and could not discuss any longer because she had to cope with all the input. So what would be your recommendation? Should we be on a high level and also on a high level participants, or should we maybe go a little bit down and say, okay, we know you just have, let's say, 3 years of TA experience?
Well, I think it's both. It's we have to get a fit between the participants and the level of the inputs, and certainly for at the end of the day, sitting there in this temperature, it's not easy for everyone to stand the last presentation. But I think from a systemic point of view, it's important to for the people to somehow, maybe that is a more German position, but I am German, that people are committed to invest their energy and their effort, and not always are thinking how comfortable I am now in the moment, and if I have a vision and if I am interested to learn, then maybe I can stand some discomfort for a moment. But that is a personal position I have, and maybe I'm more in a mood of that it is a gift that we can learn in this way, and not that there is that the main task is to make the context as comfortable as it can be.
So we've got to challenge the people to leave the comfort zone, right?
That's one thing also to compare. I worked in India, and you have an 8-line street outside of the room. It is very loud, and it's 40 degrees, and 3 big things are going around in the room, and there is a lot of noise, people going in and out, and you can also work. You can stand that. It is a thing of what is your motivation to be there, and I think that is a question of the level. If the people are trained somehow in systemic work and in TA, they are used to a certain context. But if you take in absolute beginners or people who are not used to a learning setting like a conference or like this working together, then in the beginning, as with all things we have to train, there is a bit of discomfort, but I think we shouldn't follow that. We should be clear in it, and as we said before, we can talk about the time of the inputs and of the discussions, and maybe of longer breaks in between, and then there we will create comfort by a more improved structure of the whole thing.
Maybe you can tell me what you think of the following model. We invite the professionals, the high potentials, maybe let's say the high performers to be on the conference, and invite beginners and, let's say, people who are just exploring TA to participate online and bring in their thoughts via media or something like that. Would it be, or what are the thoughts about this setting?
Well, that's an interesting offer, but maybe it is important, as you have it in a conference, for example. People can choose between several offers. They have this workshop and parallel another one, so you can give something for beginners and for advanced people, and I more think about that. And then you can also bring that together. As I mentioned, I worked in India. They have this setting that they have several levels, and for some time they are divided, and then they come together in a plenary and share their experiences. But it's not the rule or the agenda for each time. Everyone has to be together with each other people.
Yeah. I know from some conferences a setting like you have the main conference and you have special workshops for people who are just doing their PhD, like workshops for young scientific workers and all that. Could that be a setting that we divide it into like two groups? They meet together and then they have separate, not conferences, but several tracks where they can sort them in and get together and then exchange their experience and their topics and on that way.
Well, that could be an idea. I think we started with this learning conversation in a systemic, in a pure systemic idea world, but we have the experience now. I think the first one in Oxford was with a smaller group, and now it's a bigger group. But we have the experience with both, and I think the experience with the smaller group in Oxford also was that it brought more density for the people of being together. But if we are now in a phase from the family to the organization stage, and then that's my personal point of view, we need some structure, maybe, as you said, that the structure is to have 2 or 3 tracks for different needs of the people, but what is also important, to bring the people together from time to time, and to share the information, or to share the experiences in it.
So we are also at the end of the second day, and maybe you can give me just 3 words that describe your impression. I would call it 3 tags for the second day.
Multi-dimensional is the first, inspiring from the different inputs. And also there are some theoretical incongruency is the third, that there are some aspects of what is real systemic and what is personal and what is group dynamics. We have to differentiate these levels. Not that it's not everything is good to be viewed as systemic. Sometimes there's only a personal issue, or it's better to view it as a personal issue. What also is a systemic perspective, but to divide that. It's the same thing as TA started with Eric Byrne. He wrote a book about groups and organizations, but he only had group experience. In his groups he worked in, and some experience from clinics, and then he wrote a book about organizations. And I think organizations are in many dimensions different from groups. They include groups, but they are different. So more than 3 words, I think.
But maybe that can be our discussion online. What are the differences between organizations and small groups?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Günther.